Welcome back to the hottest marriage show in the galaxy. It's I, John D.N.
Kanika.
A.K.A.
Dude.
And Too Much Podcast. Good morning.
Hello.
How you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Why are you so happy?
Oh, no. Just out here flying by the seat of my pants today, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, if there's anything that I can do to not let you feel that way, let me know, because I don't know if that's a good thing.
I don't either. I don't know how I feel. But that's the best way to describe me right now. But anyway.
Well, I'm pretty good. I had a very good reflective morning. And I feel like doing the volunteer stuff made me feel like, I don't know, like I'm a part of something. I don't know how to explain it, but because I'm like I'm always at home working on something, but going out to like raise money because I was in the concession stand. Mm. Those prices was crazy, but they said they didn't know. So I was like, we'll have a better idea. But people really came through with the donations.
Oh
yeah. It was a lot of stuff there. So hopefully they got rid of a lot of the stuff. If not, they still raised a lot of money. So
that's good.
Yeah. Congrats to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's on your mind?
So remember I said we were going to have to do some homework for this next conversation. So we both went away. One of the things that I told you guys, I had a conversation with a girlfriend this week, and she and her boyfriend were arguing about him being the man of the relationship, and he's the provider or whatever. And it made me really think, like, what are the roles and responsibilities of the men and the women in relationships? And I understand that some people say there are no roles, there are no gender roles in their relationship. I get that. I also understand that everybody's perception is different. But I feel like we often talk about, well, that's the man's job, or that's the man that, and then we don't necessarily open up about women's roles. So maybe just to set the tone, we should talk about what we think men's roles are and responsibilities and what women's roles are. And that's us separately. So I told y'all, let's go make our own list, and then we're going to compare it. And if you feel like we missed some stuff, tell us. If you feel like some stuff wasn't where it was supposed to be, you can say that too. But I think going forward, it's a level setting moment where people get to understand where we're coming from. And then it's not just, oh, that's the man's job. That's the woman. Yeah, let's not do that. So how do you want to do this? Because I do want to go through what I think and what you think, and then like a summary idea of it all.
All right.
Okay. So you want to go first?
I would really love for you to start, because I want to see if I can listen better than I have ever listened before. Because I feel like this is one of those moments where this could help somebody's relationship.
Okay. So I'll start with the men. So when I think about a man's role in my life, I'm thinking a provider. But that's not just financial. Also providing protection. And protection to me is like, I'm not going to require you whooping nobody behind in the streets. However, we have talked before about me putting us in positions where John felt like he might have to. But that's not what I mean. A source of peace, like helping me to protect my peace. One way is like, I can get overwhelmed with all of the tasks I have sometimes, and taking some of those off my plate, or overwhelmed with what's going on with the kids. And then instead of me coming back with the kids and talking to them about something, you go and do it instead. Even with some of our family, when I'm talking to you about the things that are frustrating me, like this week, when I was talking to you about a family member that was frustrating me, you're like, we're about to get off the phone and I'm about to make a call. Those types of things. Protecting the sacredness of our commitment to each other and our children. I used to say to you all the time, when we were younger, we weren't married yet. And I was like, I want you Like, be honest with me about what we are, which, yeah, be honest with me about what we are. Also, if there are other things going on, like we met in college and we were never in a relationship in college, but it was like, whatever is going on, I don't want other people to know things that I don't know. So if there's something that's not on the up and up, I should know and be able to make a decision about how I want to participate. And in those times, I was willing to participate in how you wanted to set it up. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. That is a source of protection for me. And also the sacredness of our family, like not exposing our kids or our family to situations in which we will not feel comfortable. And I feel like you do that. And I do feel like you don't choose others outside of the house over the family. We come first, and you make sure that we are always good before anything else. So I love that part. A guide. Now, I do believe that for myself, I believe that I want a man that can lead my family. I want him to be able to guide me, but I need to be able to trust that we see the same destination as our goal. So I definitely want a man. I feel like a man should be a guide for the family. And that could be in anything, like where we may move, and where even in like, we want to make sure that the kids have an opportunity to go to college, but we also understand that there are other ways in which they can pursue their lifelong careers and passions and things. And so being a guide and being able to say, okay, let's all talk about what the goals are, where the destinations are, and being able to oversee in that, kind of guide in that. Also a nurturer. I don't believe that the times that I loved being around my dad the most was when he was soft with me. And he seemed to be he wasn't as soft with my brothers, especially my older brother. And I don't feel like that served him. It didn't serve my older brother, even though he's he's a very stern father, but he's also very gentle and loving. And I appreciate that. And even with you, with our kids, like you make it a point to hug Day and Dallas and hug them, like take them all the way in. It's not just like that little pat or, it's like an act, but it's not, there's no meaning behind it. I don't ever feel like that's the case. And let me see, a role model. So I think that men should understand that they're role models always, even if you don't want to be, you are, to your children and others around you. But with that comes showing your kids that there are no real roles or responsibilities that are just for a man or a woman when it comes to like tasks of managing your life. So they should see that a man is able to get the groceries, do the laundry, make sure the house is clean, all of that stuff. Even the stuff like changing a tire, yes. Maintaining a car, absolutely. Taking out the trash, yes. Men have the capability and should be able to, at any point in time, do all of these things just like a woman is. Because I think that makes a partner. I think you should be a role model in making sure your kid is a partner, that your daughter understands that a man is capable and should be, not just he's able to do it, but moving through and helping. And just like with women, when I was thinking about all of these roles, it's like, I think that a man should be a complete picture of a human being standing on their own, so that their kids understand, their sons understand that you need to know how to cook too. You need to know how to do all these things, because you're not going to just be with a woman who's going to do it all for you. But also having a daughter look at it and understanding that she shouldn't feel overwhelmed with managing everything under the sun and draining herself. She needs to look for a partner who's capable of doing those things too. And there are going to be men willing to do it. Because growing up, my dad didn't do anything, or like he did like fix the toilet or those types of things that required him to get a tool. But I can remember, I could probably count on one hand how many times he actually cooked in that kitchen. And when he did, he just took everything out the fridge and said it was goulash, and we just had to eat it, and it was disgusting. But he didn't give the real full picture of what a man could be. It was very, very limited. And sometimes I feel like when people talk about a man, they think way back when a woman was managing the household and she wasn't working, and then the man was, you know, tired from working all day. I don't think anybody thinks about how it's more balanced as far as everybody is working, and how I'm not just at home managing the house and kids. Now I have the stressors of a job too. And so I can't do everything. And I don't want her to feel like she's walking in stuff and she has to be able to do everything. So provider, protector, guide, nurturer, and role model. Because I don't think that household tasks should be assigned to men or women. I think that's usually how people look at it. But what are your thoughts on a man?
Just listening to yours, mine was a little different.
And I think a lot of people's are. So it's good to hear it in multiple ways, right?
Yeah. I think that the messaging that I've gotten and the people around me have gotten, it was skewed. And I think we have to be a little more open-minded that maybe the message we got was wrong. And if we don't seek for more information, like our kids are going to practice the same messages that got us to where we are. So right. To me, I feel like a man, like it's really difficult to convince men that they're wrong sometimes on something that they can stand so firmly on because they believed it for so long. But they have to know that it's a possibility that they're wrong or it's better information. And I think if men just started out being open-minded, that they would be in less arguments. Mm-hmm. They would create better options for later decisions because they hear from somebody else like, oh, I didn't look at it that way. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have time to hear somebody because you already know your answer's right, like you're the smartest person in the world. Mm-hmm. So you're just waiting to fall real hard. So that was one of them. I really believe if we could become open-minded, that we could complement our partner better. A lot of times, you know, we go of who makes the most money. Mm-hmm. And then like if a man makes more money in their head, they're the final say. Mm-hmm. You're not the final say because you make more money. You're the final say because your wife says you're supposed to lead her. Mm-hmm. You know, so if we can understand that, you know, we're in this relationship to create a better relationship, or for us to be happy that your input is just as valuable as whatever I think is right. And if mine is right, you'll agree. And if it's not, then we need to figure out which one makes better sense for both of us. Mm-hmm. So I believe if you can become open-minded with the idea that you could be wrong, that the relationship with your wife would improve or your spouse could improve because you're taking honest options from somebody else's experience to see if yours is good enough to continue to lead the family. And it's not like hers is going to lead the family. It's both of you guys decided like, dang, I didn't have that experience. I'm glad you've gone through that. Mm-hmm. But we feel like we got to just always say this is what it's going to be. Yeah. And I'm glad you agree because I didn't even know I was doing that. Didn't know. Like that was like just out of reflection, like, you know, like it had to be very difficult being married to me because I don't know, like I was very stubborn and I was closed-minded, and in my head I thought I was like one of the most open-minded men ever.
You did.
Oh, not lying.
It was like a steel trap. It was not open. Well, it was open for the things that you thought were, I don't know. It was, yeah. Yeah, but I think that a lot of men carry that. Yeah. So if we could become open-minded in that aspect, I think that changes the game in relationships. Oh yeah, I think men should research relationships, like great relationships. What does it look like when they're not participating in adult activities or just having fun? Because I don't think they
we know what it could look like. And then when we get there, it's like, I don't like this feeling. Time to move off. But it's like they're going to keep going into that feeling until somebody, like, it's probably normally the partner's going to expose you to, like, hey, this is what we did in my house. Mm-hmm. You know, and then you're like, I don't want to do that, or I want to do that. That's where the open-mindedness come back in. Like, you know, your partner is supposed to give you an experience or a perspective that you haven't seen, so you could see what you missed or what you are grateful for that you got to go through and didn't have to go through the bumps and bruises of your partner, you know? So it like kind of makes this relationship like this entity of like, you know how you feel protected by me now? Like a man has to feel vulnerable enough to be protected by his partner. And a lot of times we haven't been vulnerable enough, or we don't even know how to do it. And if we do know how to do it, we think it's like being soft or weak. And I feel like the misusage of words can make people stay away from things that they're supposed to experience so that they become better. Mm-hmm. So if you, so what men are like, if they get the message that they're that important, I think that they would try to find better ways to do things versus to keep doing what hasn't been working. Mm-hmm. Like you be like, this is going to happen. If he continues this is going to happen. You get older, it was like, we knew this was going to happen. And then that goes with anything that you do. So it's not just like you watching, if you watch yourself and you honest, if men can be accountable for their decision making, we're like, are you messing up? Why are you messing up? You got to be open-minded that your messaging was wrong, and that are you going to get better, or are you going to mess up to the point where you're like, he did just like the same man before him. So if we know how to become vulnerable to being a true compliment to our partner. Mm. And when I say that, I mean, like, I feel like I can tell you things that I wouldn't have ever said out loud anymore. Like I can say it to you, like, and sometimes I got to like figure out how I'm going to say it because I don't want to sound a certain way, but I just want to hear if you've thought about it. Mm-hmm. You know, and see what you thought. But sometimes, you know, if you just keep it in your head, it's like, I wasn't trusting you with the information. But now I feel like I'm capable of giving you or trying to give you what I want to give you through that message without feeling like I'm being judged or anything like that. I don't think about that.
Feel good.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. If men knew how to, like, knew that was good for them. But see, this is the thing. They're not accountable, where we're not accountable and saying, like, if I pick you, like, I have to deal with your hangups. You know, you got to bring her to your level there, but she's got a level that she's bringing you to, because the energy's supposed to attract, mm-hmm. you know, so you got to find it. But everybody think it's like a smooth journey to like mm-hmm. a really good relationship, because they've never seen it before, first of all. Mm-hmm. And I can say never, because I've never seen it mm-hmm. other than something fake on television. And we know that that's fake, right? But to actually go through what we've gone through, I can be like, I'm pretty sure if there was a timeline of events of anybody's relationship, just watching, you can see which way it's going to go. And I feel like if men were a little more accountable for not making those events happen, that the relationship could grow more. And I'm not saying that that's going to be the thing, because they could make a miserable man. Yeah. I don't want the man to be miserable, but they got to know that it's more to the relationship than what we've been taught. Yeah. So I know that, wouldn't it be odd if we didn't talk in a day? Yeah. Like, we used to have days where we didn't talk. Like, we just kind of passing, right? But it would be like, hey, we're like, it doesn't even make sense for us to not. And just think how many more conversations we've had since we've been on this in comparison to what we were. Wouldn't you think that we've grown to truly know each other? Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's strengthened our relationship. Yeah. But that was intentional. Mm-hmm. And if you're intentional in if you wanted to get here, you can't think that. Just being around somebody and not talking, y'all got to talk. Yeah. And this is what I've learned through our relationship. When I listen to you, like, I'm able to, like, I can make you smile more with listening to you than me just trying to get you to be quiet. Like, I don't know that, if you know what I mean. Like, a lot of times I'm always trying to solve your problems. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. And and sometimes if I just listen, like, without trying to give an answer,
Mm-hmm.
like whatever response is way better than me just trying to be like, you know, because I'm typically distracted by your pain or something that's bothering you. And I just want that to go away. And that's my distraction.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with my experience, I think I could give her something and you're not looking for that. And, but now I just now realize that's my distraction, just going through this, telling you this. That's just, look at that, this conversation.
My pain is your distraction. That's, from hearing me.
Yeah, and I think that's what most men want to do. They're always trying to answer or find something. So that's just what men do, because not saying it's a bad thing, but if we learned how to listen and be more open-minded to what you're trying to say versus trying to protect you because you're not dying in front of us.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, what can I really do? Just listen. And listening takes a lot of practice too.
It does.
So the vulnerability, open-minded. And I think this last part, I was like, no, I didn't. It's not the last part. We need to be mindful of how we're speaking. When I say that, I mean sound, tone, and delivery.
Yeah.
I feel like, and this is what I knew for sure. I knew, like, I heard somebody else talking to their partner in a tone that I was like, no woman ever wants to be spoken to like that. And I just kept thinking like, dang, that's how I used to talk to you all the time.
All the time.
And when I say that, I mean, like, you don't know. It's just like if something triggers you from your past and she says it, I'm talking to her like, what you mean? Like, and it's cutting words. And it's like, she don't even deserve any of it. And I didn't even know I was doing it. And that's something that I feel like a lot of men that come from, you know, like I guess a tough background, you know, communication wasn't effective. So it's like, this is my mechanism to make the triggers, whatever may be triggered, to make it stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if men knew that, I think that they wouldn't do it, because none of them are doing it to hurt their partner's feelings or they just kind of bad practice.
Yeah.
So I really believe that. And this might probably go viral, but if men could teach their sons that sex is to make babies and to give someone who deserves it. Sex is a distraction and it's not worth the pain it causes. And I really feel that way because when I was growing up, it was like, you're supposed to do this thing. And I was just thinking, one mistake then could have prevented me from being here. And like, why would we give young men this distraction that men can't even handle at such a young age? And then you just feel like this is a part of your life. So if we could teach our sons that sex is not worth any of the pain that it causes, like whatever happiness that it gives a man, it's not worth any pain that any person has to receive from it, because it's not even long enough. It's just to make babies and to give somebody who deserves it. And typically that's later in life, but you shouldn't be doing it at a young age, because it will distract you and prevent you from finding who the person you're supposed to become. And you may not even be able to become that person, because if you get somebody pregnant or get pregnant, you have become another person too soon.
Yeah.
So if we as men can teach a different message, I think that the trajectory of their families would look different than the ones that we came from. And I feel like I see how the cycle continues to repeat. If you just hang around the people you know, who's talking about that? Look, I still know people who like, shoot, I just told them, look, hey, you better not get nobody pregnant. And you better put a condom on. And hey, like really?
Yeah.
Like, you telling him to go endanger his future for something that don't even matter right now.
But I think that's the messaging of just telling young the boys will be boys, and having this idea that men are often driven by their hormones and not by an actual brain. And if you're going to surrender to that idea and be like, boys and them hormones, so I just got to prepare them. Whereas it should be like, you got hormones and they're going to make you feel like this. However, you have a brain. So let's talk about it, because people be like, well, what were you thinking with this brain or that brain? it really gives young men this idea that they're going to get the pass for this type of behavior and being reckless because people already told them their hormones are so strong. However, these boys are supposed to be with these girls, and we tell them, the girls, save yourself. You don't need to. So how are we creating? Like, what are we even creating in this idea? But I agree with you in the sense that boys need to learn that those hormones, they're going to feel really strong. They're new. So you feel really drawn that you want to do this. And society tells you that you know, but we could get away from the idea of saying, well, just make sure you use a condom.
Yeah.
Because in the end, doesn't it feel like it's saying, well, my parent feels like it's going to happen anyway. So how much do I really need to hear that first message of you shouldn't be doing it? But if you do, wear a condom. Then that just negates the whole first part of the conversation, because now it's like they expect that I may fall victim to my hormones and that's okay just as long as I do it this way. And look, that sets the tone.
It does.
Yeah, for the rest of your life.
So hopefully we can help create a different messaging, because again, none of those men or boys who were getting people pregnant at that age had that in their agenda when they started out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's unfair, but we can't continue to keep pushing that message.
Yeah.
And I just feel like what are the real like, you only know what you know.
Yeah. But there has to be someone in the link that changes the message, so then the rest of the link is stronger at the end. It's just going to take the people who are parenting right now, because, we could change a lot of the perspectives of kids going forward.
Absolutely. I feel like if a kid was able to listen to this message and they understand that that's not the way to go, we did what we were supposed to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully that they know how valuable they are and they don't make that mistake, because none of those kids who got pregnant said that they were